Alright, MrSotko here, and welcome to another Company Heroes 2 replay cast action, and it is a 2 vs 2 on Moscow Outskirts. And up north, we have our OKW player, Ciez, hope I'm saying that right, and Wehrmacht is Lemon. Down south, we have our US Forces player, Skabinsk, and our Russian player, G.dot. I hear some Axis complaining a little bit about this map. Not really sure why, it seems a little bit even to me. The fuel points are on the very far sides of the map here. So equally hard for either player to get. And we have our munitions directly in the center, as usual, directly in the center of the middle victory point. And the victory points are pretty evenly spaced as well. I would say a little bit easier for each side to grab the victory point. Looks like the victory point on the bottom is maybe a little bit further than the southern base, but not too bad. The first Stern Pioneers moving out here to the first munitions point. Whereas our Wehrmacht player is taking territory points, is the directly first one here. Engineers moving up, putting barbed wire on these concrete walls on the other side, so his opponent cannot use them, but I'm not sure if that's the best place to put them. Kubo Wagon here looking to suppress these riflemen that are trying to take this territory point, and they may get suppressed before they are able to take it. However, they do have decent cover, which prevents them from getting penned for a short while, but does indeed get to take the territory point, but falls back inside this house for a good cover. Now these Stern Pioneers are going to have to get up really close there, but not really going to risk it there. Schwerer Wehrmacht Schlepper moving on out. We have an MG42 here, but it is going to get suppressed. It's going to get flanked here, rather, with two sets of Russian squads here in these buildings. Very good cover. Interestingly enough, our red Wehrmacht player, Lemon, does have 4% increased rate of fire intel bulletins for the MG42, so he has a total of 12%, so he's going to have some really speedy MG42s there. Looks like these Stern Pioneers in a little bit of trouble, getting a little bit suppressed here. It looks like they were getting suppressed from the rear echelon troops' this volley fire, but we'll soon get up, but they need to stop getting fired at before they're able to get up. And the Wehrmacht moving all the way down the left side here, going to take the victory point. And the OKW trying to take over this fuel point, but I'm not sure if it's going to happen. However, this Kubo Wagon is going to make it very hard for these riflemen, but they're just barely inside of the circle there. So they are able to take this fuel point while being suppressed and shot at. MG42 is now garrisoned inside of this house here, and so anything that's going to come up here is going to get instantly shot at by a very fast MG42. And these conscripts inside this building with very good cover, firing at this MG42, but I don't know how long they're going to last there. Stern Pioneers, only two of them, trying to fix up this Kubo Wagon. And these riflemen still holding strong here at this point. These Volksgrenadiers run directly into these riflemen here. However, they're going to have to run away because they have negative cover. Riflemen versus Volksgrenadiers again, running away again here. And this Kubo Wagon coming on over to these riflemen, but it's getting way too close in their faces. Going to take some shots in the back side. And gets hit by an anti-tank grenade there. And now its engine is out, and it is on quarter health, so I don't think it's going to make it. Now its main gun is destroyed. It's going to definitely lose that Kubo Wagon. But that's what they're for, right? In the middle of the game, or in the beginning of the game, just to lose a Kubo Wagon. Not a big deal. These engineers getting pretty beat on here. Volksgrenadiers, or just Grenadiers rather, and MG42 all firing on at once. Only down to one engineer. May lose that to these Grenadiers. Well, it looks like he's going to get away safely here. Incoming clown car with some engineers and a flamethrower. Classic clown car maneuver. And going to run at these Grenadiers. However, these Grenadiers do have Panzerfaust, so it could hit it directly in the face there. But the most it's going to do is take out the engine and provide a pain-in-the-ass sort of situation for the engineers inside, and they can just easily hop out and start repairing it. So that's the good thing about having engineers inside of a clown car, is that once you do take some damage on it, you can just sort of drive away and just repair it. These conscripts here in big trouble, only down to 2 against 2 Volksgrenadier squads and that MG42 firing on it. And that is a pretty souped-up MG42, if I say so myself. Engineers all the way overtaken here, so the Wehrmacht now owns the entire left side, whereas the U.S. forces own the entire right side and the middle side. So far the U.S. forces definitely winning, but it's very early in the game just yet. So far the score 459 for the U.S. forces, or allies rather, and the Germans at 488. Stern Pioneers and Volks Grenadiers chasing away the clown car and some riflemen here, and this clown car is desperately trying to get away, but may lose it because it just can't get away fast enough, and the main gun's destroyed. However, the flame is still shooting out of there, and loses that clown car and the engineers inside with the flamethrower. So a pretty big loss for the Russian player there. 2 squads of riflemen chasing away these Volks Grenadiers, going to take this top right territory point. Now we have a battle over this bottom victory point, but these rear echelon troops definitely not going to win that against engineers and a flamethrower. And this guy may not make it out with his life. He will get lucky, as that MG42 has just happened to be facing the wrong way. Otherwise, he would have got that engineer. Here comes another clown car moving on up, and I'm not sure if he learned his lesson the last time because he definitely lost it pretty quick. But hopefully he plays with it a little bit better. Captain with a bazooka now moving on up. Nothing really to use the bazooka on, but captains are pretty good, so might as well have one. Volks Grenadiers, 2 Grenadiers in the center here, so it's going to be quite a battle for this captain here and this clown car. However, Russian player does have a sniper, and going to move that up. Might get a couple kills with that so far. Only 2 kills on the sniper, but time will tell. Now mortar moving out for the Russian player. 120 mortar, that is. The good stuff, if you will. MG42 with its 12% increased attack speed, putting suppression down on these riflemen very, very quickly. 2 Grenadier squads moving around on this captain. Doesn't know what's going to hit him there. And also gets hit by a mortar at the same time by the looks of it. Indeed, 82, 34 mortar team there. Light scout car burning up these troops here, but it looks like he got hit by a Panzerfaust there, so now his engine's out. Gonna have to back all the way out of there, but can easily just jump these engineers right out once he gets in safety and repair it up. Sniper in trouble there. Couldn't get a shot onto this MG42 before he had to run away. Volks Grenadiers taking this victory point up here, trying to even it out. However, this is neutralized, and only in each of the armies has 1 victory point, so neither side losing any points right now until this is taken by somebody. This MG42 is guarding this mortar squad here, but the mortar squad lost a little bit too much. Gonna have to retreat out of there. Stern Pioneers and Engineers moving on out. Looks like they're gonna take this victory point and the munitions point at the same time. However, the Stern Pioneers stop a little bit short. 2 squads of conscripts now moving up. However, there is an MG42, and they're just out of range. I don't even know if they know that. And if they step up any further, they're going to get suppressed pretty quick there. Engineers and Stern Pioneers against this cloud car with flamethrowers in it. Not too bad of a matchup there, because they don't have any Panzerfaust able to blow this up or take out the engine. So they just have to do it with bullets, which does take a little while. And again, what happened here? 2 riflemen moved on up, and these conscripts did not. However, riflemen can launch smoke, which is very, very good against MG42. Smoke is very, very good in this game, but people rarely use it, as it may be a little bit too hard for their micro to use it, but smoke is so good in this game. And a half-track is now firing at this clown car, but I'm not sure who's going to win that, because Wehrmacht rarely ever actually get these half-tracks. 3 Grenadiers and Engineers here, going to take this whole section here. And they did take out that scout car. However, there is way more than just this half-track for the Wehrmacht. There was multiple MG42s, 2-star MG42 firing at these 2 conscript squads here. And they're going to have to get out of there sooner or later, but they may be able to get a couple kills off before they have to retreat. Looks like the U.S. force is going to be taking the top victory point as well. Had a little bit of lag there. Conscripts taking the center victory point. Volks Grenadiers now have a Panzerschreck on them. That will serve them well. And a Raketenwerfer now on the squad for the OKW player. As for the Wehrmacht, the military, 2 MG, 2 Engineers, 2 Grenadiers, a mortar, and the Schwerer, or excuse me, not the Schwerer Wehrmacht Schlepper, the half-track. On M5A1, Stewart out for the U.S. forces. Really, I really enjoy these tanks. They're really easy to get, pretty cheap, and do pretty good damage for what they are. U.S. forces desperately trying to defend this top area here from the OKW, and doing a pretty good job of it the entire game. However, the Wehrmacht is typically always controlling the left side of the map. So really, it's going to come down to the middle side of the map. Whoever can capture that typically will win. Raketenwerfer now firing at this Stuart. Looks like it only got one shot off. So wasn't able to take it out entirely. As the Stuart is surprisingly armored and can take quite a beating for its little size. Two MG42s firing at this center munitions point here. And now they are going to have to run away. And I'm not really sure how the Allies team are going to be able to handle this. They're going to need some mortars to try and take out these MG42, or just armor, period. And there goes one mortar, taking out one of them. And he does indeed have that 120mm mortar, but I'm not sure if that's just going to be enough, because it's just firing. The 120 fires really slow. It takes a long time. But when it lands, it does big damage, and I like using the 120. But these two MG42s are really just tearing up the U.S. forces the entire time here. Really hasn't lost any of these MG42s. And here comes that Stuart, trying to flank that MG42. Exactly what, as I said, going to need either armor or some mortars to really take that out. Or just a real good flank, but so far it's very hard to do right now. Now taking this left side munitions point, and this half-track is a little jacked up. Its engine is out, and this M5 Stuart could take that out pretty easy if you had just aimed at that. However, this Raketenwerfer hits it in the side armor. Going to have to back it out of there. Doesn't want to lose that M5 too early in the game. And I definitely want to see him backing that out of there, because he is bringing that Raketenwerfer up, and he probably knows that. Two Volksgrenadier squads taking the munitions point on the other side, and it's defended by two veteran riflemen with a flamethrower, and I'm not sure who's going to win this one. As long as they stay behind good cover, they could do some damage, but now getting out of the cover is going to take huge damage from three Volksgrenadier squads. So we're going to see how that turns out. Looks like they are down to one and retreating out of there, and does not lose that veteran.
Stand ready.
Two veteran rifleman squad over here, as he is using the rifle company tactics and can equip his units with automatic rifleman training, which gives them a star of veterancy, which is a very good commander. I see it used virtually every game for the U.S. forces. So perhaps a little too good. So far, the Wehrmacht has yet to choose a commander. Probably waiting a little bit later in the game just to see what he can do. Although he should have chosen, if he was going to choose Elite Troops Doctrine, he should have done it earlier in the game, right off the bat. And that way he can give his troops training in advance, so he has more time to actually use it more often. So if he was going to get a commander, the Elite Troops Doctrine, he should have gotten that much earlier in the game. So he's just waiting, and it's probably going to come down to either of these two. I'd like to imagine, anyway. Over on the right side, U.S. forces trying to take back the right side, and the Russians starting to take back the left side as well. So now it's sort of evened out in the sense that the U.S. forces and the Germans have taken about equally amounts of the map here.
Orders incoming.
Two riflemen now moving forward here. Going to go ahead and defend this center, because they know that the Germans should be taking this victory point pretty soon, as they own both of the munitions points, so why not go for the center after this? U.S. forces owns two of the victory points, so they are at 458, as the Germans are only at 364.
We're losing a capture point.
Jaeger light infantry against this one poor rifleman here, and some Volksgrenadiers moving around, and runs away, but doesn't make it. MG42s, again, covering the middle pretty good here. I like to see this. Just stick a couple MG42s and maybe even one over here, and it's very difficult for any troops to ever get up forward there. Half-track still alive. Kind of surprised that's still alive. 3-star MG42 with 12% attack speed, so that's a pretty good MG42 there. And he's just reinforcing this MG42 as he loses troops. Now he's only down to one troop, but he's just reinforcing from the half-track there and loses his M5 Stuart to a Raketenwerfer. But this 120mm mortar squad is hammering down on this MG42, and while he is able to reinforce this right off the bat, it does cost him quite a bit of money, so he is definitely running out of money doing that. Manpower, rather. I always call it money. Same thing, right? And engineers now moving forward. Going to take this fuel point here. And oddly enough, the U.S. forces actually own this far left territory point.
Pack here.
Now a Pack 40 out on the map, so we have a Raketenwerfer and a Pack 40. So lots of anti-tanks so far for the German players. And a little bit of complaining going on, but nothing like a little friendly banter between players. Or sometimes mildly unfriendly, but oh well. That's the fun of gaming, right? Arguing with another player sometimes.
Warning orders.
We do have a Sherman EZ-8 out on the field for the U.S. forces. Didn't see that because it goes off the map as soon as they exit the vehicle. I wish they would have that to stay on, unless it's actually taken by the Wehrmacht, or the OKW for that matter. Two Volksgrenadiers now moving forward. One of them has a Panzerschreck. Going to hit it in the front armor, but not going to do too much to a Sherman EZ-8 by hitting in the front armor there. Now a second Panzerschreck just got upgraded for this other Volksgrenadier squad. Now taking 2 hits at once, so now might want to consider actually backing out of there. 2 Panzerschrecks at once. And now moving over this Raketenwerfer. Going to get hit by the Raketenwerfer. Takes out the main armament of that Sherman, and now that Sherman is essentially useless. Going to have to back out of there immediately. 2 Raketenwerfers now on the field, and a Pack 40. So if both of those go over and hit that Sherman EZ-8, he will lose that Sherman EZ-8. That's going to be a big loss for the U.S. forces if he does that. Jaeger light infantry now moving forward at these riflemen that are just sort of moving forward here, just pushing the Germans back.
That did it. God damn it.
Looks like the U.S. forces now own the majority of the map, maybe by a small margin, but indeed it looks that way. Now 2 snipers for the Russian player. And I'm not sure if I ever really agree with 2 snipers, although sometimes it is fun to build 2 or 3 snipers in a game, just to spam them on somebody and have some fun and kill all their troops. But it's harder to micro multiple snipers at once and keep them in cover like so that they're camouflaged, and making sure that they fire once and then they're still camouflaged so they can't be killed. It becomes a little harder at that point. 3 rifleman squads push the OKW and Wehrmacht, for that matter, all the way back here. Wehrmacht owns most of the left side here, now has 2 Pack 40s. So any armor that the U.S. forces are going to get, or U.S. allies in general, get a little tongue-tied there, but they're allies. You get the point. 2 riflemen now moving in on this mortar and very weak Pack 40 squad here. They're not going to be able to do anything. 2 Pack 40s setting up, almost got a hit on that Sherman EZ-8. Looks like it may have gotten hit by a Panzerfaust. I'm not really sure what hit it there. The Pack 40's trying to swing around, trying to hit this Sherman EZ-8. Should have 1 Pack 40 facing this way, and maybe 1 Pack 40 facing this way in advance, because he knows it's going to come around this way. And he's really juking out these Pack 40s here. I'm about to hear the Harlem Globetrotters music. I should put it into the video as that was going around, because he was just juking those Pack 40s so badly with that Sherman EZ-8. I think that would be a little bit humorous, or the Benny Hill music, but I think the Harlem Globetrotters would fit it a little bit better. Now the MG42 suppressing these engineers here, and these engineers are kind of in trouble as 2 Pack 40s and an MG42 are firing at them. Wouldn't want to be in those guys' shoes. Although, unfortunately, Pack 40s don't do too much to troops in this game. In real life, I would definitely not want to be in front of that thing, as it kicks up a huge ball of dust when it fires. You can actually go online and see those things fire, and they are real wicked. Sherman EZ-8. 2 Sherman EZ-8s, one of them being repaired up here. So lots of armor for the U.S. forces player here. And checking on the Russian player, we have 2 T-34, it looks like two T-34-85 tanks. Bought them with the, the guard motor coordination tactics. You get 2 T-34-85s per column. However, it does cost you 740 manpower and 260 fuel to get 2 of those at once. So very, very expensive, but really, really effective. The 2 Raketenwerfers still set up. Grenadiers with LMGs and Obersoldaten with LMGs as well. Gonna start battling out with these 3 riflemen. One of them has a flamethrower, and I don't think they'll win that fight, but they will capture the victory point. So either way, they've done their job, and now the U.S. forces have all 3 victory points. forcing the Wehrmacht player down by 3 points at a time.
We're losing a capture point.
These conscript squads are being shot up pretty bad. 2 LMGs and an MG42 on this. Now a Tiger tank coming in. Tiger Panzerkampfwagen 6 moving on in. Very intimidating presence. Takes out one of those conscripts with one shot there. Going to lose these conscripts pretty fast. Got to get them out of there. Don't really have a chance against MG42s and a Tiger. And this T-34-85 doesn't really see what's coming here. Gets one shot off in the slight diagonally side armor of it. Does some pretty good damage. However, the T-34 takes equal damage as it moves away. Although the Tiger, very formidable, is very, very slow. And if these allies move on to that Tiger and try and flank it, maybe bring the T-34s this way and the Sherman EZ-8s this way, or vice versa, they can easily get behind that Tiger and destroy it. So that is the downfall of the Tiger, unfortunately. Now we're repairing up this T-34-85. Only took one shot, but gonna go ahead and repair it up. Sherman EZ-8's now moving on into the center of the map. Knows that that Tiger is there and gonna respond to that. However, there's lots of anti-tank in the middle. Those 2 PaK-40s that did get juked pretty hard earlier, but they are still there regardless. And 2 Raketenwerfers in the center, so 4 anti-tank in the center, not counting the Panzerschrecks on the various troops. And these guard rifle infantry with their PTRS ain't going to do much to that Tiger. However, if they do hit it in the back, they do a tiny little sliver of damage, and you can actually take out a Tiger with the PTRS rifle, but you need like 5 squads of them and be hitting it in the back. So it's just not a very likely scenario. Incoming 2 Sherman EZ-8s. I wish they would move up a little bit more. They could be hitting this Tiger right in the side armor. However, 2 PaK-40s and the Raketenwerfers now setting up. They know that these tanks are around here. T-34-85 right up front, taking major hits from all this anti-tank and loses one of his T-34-85s. A pretty big loss for the Russian player there. Trying to flank around the side, but doesn't really get anything. Can't get to that tank, as there's just so much anti-tank on the field here. And Obersoldat and Stern Pioneers, LMGs, oh my. And gotta get that conscript out of there. Gonna lose that. It's a 2-star conscript. Don't really want to lose that. Takes a little while to get that. Now for the U.S. forces, 3 Sherman EZ-8s for the U.S. forces, so that's going to be a big, big hit to that Tiger if they can get to it, but there's just so much anti-tank. T-34-85 is now moving on forward. And I am sorry if you guys can hear a lawnmower and or a weed whacker outside, as it sounds like a neighbor is going at their yard right when I'm recording. But that just sort of makes it sound more realistic, doesn't it? Anyway, the Jagdpanzer are now moving forward. And so now there's 2 sets of armor for the German players and lots of anti-tank, as opposed to the 3, now actually 3 T-34-85s. He did bring in another set of 2 with his Colin. And for the U.S. forces, still has, let me check here, 3 Sherman EZ-8s. So 6 total for the Allies. And the U.S. forces has just mass riflemen that are just totally, almost completely full of veterancy. So very, very good forces for the U.S. force player. Moving up these 3 Sherman EZ-8s, blasting down a Volksgrenadier. One guy, very, very unlucky man. And here's all the riflemen for the U.S. forces here, except for 1, I gather. So very, very high veterancy. Very, very good troops here. Going to put up a real good fight. However, there are 3 veterancy grenadiers as well. And they do have LMGs. But however, the flamethrower is moving up. Flamethrower ain't afraid of no LMG. Sherman EZ-8's now moving up into the OKW base, taking out some of these bunkers here, doing some damage, maybe definitely distracting them, moving up the Tiger and 2 PaK-40s. Sherman EZ-8 takes 2 PaK-40 hits, and this Sherman's going to take a Tiger hit, but actually misses there. Takes a couple hits from the PaK-40, takes a hit from the Tiger here, and I don't think this Tiger's going to be able to chase it down, as the Tiger is just so slow. 3 T-34-85s now moving on up, trying to get this Jagdpanzer. I don't know where those Rakettenwerfers. Looks like he only has one left. Looks like one got taken out. Gonna have to move out these Shermans and get them repaired. He's trying to move up these T-34-85s, but really doesn't want to risk losing anymore. So I'm not sure if he's going to be moving in or not. He does see that that Jagdpanzer is in trouble. However, I don't think he's going to be able to get it, and he knows that too. So he's just going to let it repair, and which is still good enough because that forces his opponent to, one, keep his Tiger back here, and two, a Stern Pioneer for quite a while as that repairs. Backing up a T-34-85, looks like it got hit by a PaK-40, almost a second PaK-40 hit, and almost a Tiger there. So very, very lucky T-34 there. Two T-34-85s hit him in the back in the side armor at the same time, but the resilient Tiger didn't take too much damage from that. Stunned crew in the T-34-85. And all of the Sherman EZ-8s being repaired here. T-34-85 still slugging it out with this Tiger here, but it's not looking too good for these T-34-85s. Here's the Jagdpanzer, two PaK-40s, and the Tiger. Not really going to be able to do too much about that. You should have used these snipers over here, try and get some of these kills on these Rakettenwerfer and PaK-40. Desperately trying to get his T-34-85s out of there, a little tongue-tied, and just splitting them up, sending them all over the place. Scattering every man for himself, if you will.
Prepare for combat.
Still no other Schwer Wehrmacht Schlepper out. They have the battle group headquarters, however, I never agree with OKW putting it in their base, as it just seems like a waste to me. Could put it behind a building like so, like here or here, and it just definitely reduces the runtime back to the base. And it's still very, very easy to defend. It takes quite a lot to destroy one of those, so you can easily react to whatever they bring to destroy it with. 3 squads of riflemen moving up, but there's way too much German here. Well, actually pretty even, as the PaK-40s really don't do too much, and they cannot barrage like the ZIS can. Smoke grenades being launched and grenades being launched. Hits that grenadier, but doesn't take any lives out. T-34-85 shooting this, about to hit this Tiger right in the side here, but just hanging off of it, even on its side armor. That just goes to show how strong the Tiger is. So those T-34-85s, he must be very disappointed with the performance of them at the moment there. That RNG. Rifleman still slugging it out with these grenadiers here, but it looks like most of them had to retreat, and I don't think he's going to be taking the center victory point. Might be able to chase away these grenadiers for now, but this Tiger is really going to change those odds. So the U.S. forces now down to only 1 victory point, and the Wehrmacht have 2 victory points. However, they only have 71 points, as the Allies at 383. Tiger and the Jagdpanzer now moving towards the Allies' base here. And T-34-85s are the only things here to defend right now. Got to bring these Sherman EZ-8s down here. Might be able to get a flank on this Tiger. Knows exactly where it's at because the Russian player has its sight and going to hit it right in the side. He's in big trouble here. However, there's 2 PaK-40s and 2 Rakettenwerfers that are going to do big damage to these, equal damage to these Shermans here. And he may lose his Jagdpanzer too, getting hit right in the back armor, and trying to get around, trying to juke out these PaK-40s and the Rakettenwerfer. And the Wehrmacht loses both of their tanks. Although the OKW lost one, both of them are the Wehrmacht, technically, as the OKW's name is the Oberkommando der Wehrmacht. In this game, they're called the Oberkommando West, but same thing. The real name for them was the Oberkommando der Wehrmacht. Sort of a complicated command structure of the German army. And the Wehrmacht and OKW did surrender. They GG'd out as they just lost both of their... That was the deciding factor of the battle, is that they lost both of those tanks. What happened was they lost sight of the Shermans. And out of sight, out of mind. But that's unfortunate in war, because they moved up. They figured they could get maybe 1 or 2 of these T-34s. They might be able to get some juicy bunkers or a building or some units. Problem was, there were Shermans over here. They were just got done being repaired. And with the sight of the Russian player moving it forward, he knew exactly where they were. Just flanked right over through here, took out both of those armor, and they just really didn't have anything left after that, although they did have both of the victory points. So they weren't losing any points, but at 71... they might have been a little bit frustrated at losing their very, very expensive tanks. Didn't have the fuel to replace their tanks, as they only have 80 and 97 respectively. So the victory goes to the Allies today. And I hope you guys enjoyed this replay, and I will see you guys next time.